Hello friends, hope you are all doing well. Today I'm going to discuss how we can make sure that the core values are part of the remaining three areas, which are people, systems and processes. Before we look into people side of the things, let's first discuss the things related to processes and systems. This is mainly because systems and processes are the two parts at the end, while vision and strategy are at the beginning. People lies in between. Actually, people glues these two parts together, vision and strategy with systems and processes. So today our discussion will be mainly focusing on systems and processes. All businesses ideally should come up with all their business processes documented, designed and documented. Once you have these business processes in place, you have to define these processes in the systems that you are going to implement. Care must be taken always to make sure that all the business processes and the systems that you implement in order to execute these business processes are foolproof and does not allow any malpractices. Because if the systems has the capability of tweaking in any ways, people will always find a way to do these type of malpractices. At the same time, you need to have systems flexible enough to cater for eventualities, because we may not think of all the processes at first and design them properly in order to make sure that we can cater for everything. There could be things which can come in businesses. There are things which may appear all of a sudden, saying that okay, we have an eventuality and we need to look into different alternatives to cater our customers. So in that case, if the systems are so rigid, you will find it very difficult to put things in perspective, or you will find it very difficult to cater such changes in a quicker way. So there are, if you look into government organizations, you will definitely see that these type of rigidity cause them a big havoc. While if you look into the private entities, they are too flexible sometimes to cater for such changes. You should be always in the middle. You should not be too flexible to allow for all the malpractices that to happen, but at the same time, you should be careful in designing the systems so that you can always prevent many malpractices that happens in the organizations. One other thing that you need to be very careful when designing a system is to have an exception handling. Exception handling is extremely important because we don't know what are the things that we may need to cater later on when we implement a process. We can see this very clearly in a recent example that happened in Kerala while they deal with the corona cases. So they came up, the government implemented a system for the people who comes from other states So they have to register in a website, and they have to get a pass, and then they need to use that pass to enter Kerala. But what actually happened? Many people followed this process, but there are some people who didn't follow this process. So what happened? They came to the border and they became held up there. And this caused a havoc. Had they really implemented an exception handling procedure in this scenario, all this havoc could be avoided. People will not be in a havoc. They know that, okay, the officials will not be in a havoc. They will know the process and they execute that process. So if you haven't had an exception handling in the systems that you are dealing with now, please look into that, because that will definitely help you to prevent problems like this. So, having said so much about the processes and systems, now we need to look into the most important part of the jigsaw, which is people, which needs definitely a lot of time, because people are the core element of any organization. They are the most important asset of any organization. People have values. If people have values, it will be very easy for an organization to implement values in that organization. So almost always the values or the core values of an organization comes from the top. So if the CEO or if the chairman of the board thinks that these core values should be part of the organization almost always, it will be part of the organization almost always. So the people determine the success of any organization. So in addition to the vision, strategy, the systems and processes, we need to look into very carefully about the roles and responsibilities played by the people, how to interview people, how to take people in an organization, what type of people you need to look into, how you need to screen people, and how you need to train them, and how you need to build a positive culture in the organization using these people, processes, systems, strategy, and vision. We will talk about those things in the next video. In the meantime, I wish you all a very happy Eid in advance. Tomorrow, inshallah, we will be having Eid, and we will be all celebrating Eid with peace and prosperity for the whole humankind. Thank you very much.